I bet you have looked at your exercise in the past and gone, oh, I can move more, I can do more exercise. That'll make me fitter and healthier. I would also imagine that you've looked at your diet and gone, let's just eat, I need to eat this, this and this. And that'll make me fitter and healthier. But when was the last time we went, I'm going to need to sort out my circadian rhythm. I need to sort out my light and dark cycle. I'm guessing never, for one. Yet you could argue that that part there, that circadian rhythm, your light and dark cycle, is fundamental in achieving any kind of health and wellness goal. And most people would think about exercise and nutrition, absolutely, and they are key parts to it. But for the most part, they don't affect your sleep. They do to a certain extent, but not massively. But if you flip those around and you look at sleep, and you look at circadian rhythm, and you look at light and dark, then you start to see actually that part has a very big impact on exercise and nutrition. Both, so if we look at circadian rhythm and light and dark, that has a either very positive or very negative effect on your food choice and how your body responds to that food. And so could you actually argue that circadian rhythm, light and dark cycle is actually the bottom pillar of any kind of health and wellness regime? I think you could. Because we also know that the circadian rhythms, light and dark cycle, plays a massively important part in your ability to exercise and your ability to recover from that exercise. And so what we look at is, we know that exercise and nutrition are important in health and wellness. But what we need to start promoting is circadian rhythm and light and dark. And start to understand that exercise and nutrition can be done, and they do have some effect, but not a massive effect on sleep or circadian rhythm and light and dark. But circadian rhythm, light and dark, has a massive effect on your ability to participate in some kind of new eating plan and accomplish it and complete it. It also has a massive ability on your ability a massive say in your ability to complete an exercise program and recover from said exercise program. So actually, when we're putting all this focus onto exercise and nutrition, where a large chunk of our focus should be is actually in circadian rhythm and light and dark. And once you start to respect circadian rhythms and light and dark, you start to understand that exercise becomes easier because you have more motivation, you have more energy, you've recovered better from the previous exercise. In nutrition, you start to understand that actually I've slept better, I have more energy, my motivation's better, my decision-making abilities are better, and therefore I'll make better decisions with regards to the food that I eat. My body also responds in a positive manner to the food that I eat. And I've said this many times before, we start to understand that sleep deprived people, or even though I can function on 5 hours sleep, doesn't mean it's good for you, doesn't mean you should be doing it. We start to need to prioritize sleep again. And then we also need to understand the light and dark. We need light and dark. Much like our skin needs light and dark. So our skin needs light in order to set up proper kind of protective elements of our skin, but it also needs dark to switch off those protective elements and go into regeneration. Our eyes need light and dark, and our eyes need specific wavelengths at specific times in order to send the right signals into our brain, in order to get the right hormones around our body at the right time. And if we are consistently messing up those signals by staying inside in the morning and not getting daylight in the morning, then we don't get the right signals. But then maybe we'll look at our phone first thing in the morning. which is so strong on the blue light. It's got so much blue light that comes out of it that our body no longer gets the right wavelengths of light in order to say, oh, it's morning time, therefore we need to wake up and we need to do this, that and that. All of a sudden, we wake up and we look at our phone, and then it's got a very, very high proportion of blue light wavelength goes into our eyes. And therefore, it automatically makes us think that actually it's midday. And so we need to actually stay, oh, okay, I'm not going to look at my phone for the first hour, half an hour that I'm awake. What I will do is I'll put my eyes, I'll get my face and I'll look out, I'll open a window and I'll look outside. And I'll get the right wavelengths of light. So we get everything that we need to start functioning in the morning. In the first half an hour, we get that. Then we can start looking at our phone and stuff like that. And then if you are looking at your computer throughout the day, look at a pair of blue light blocking glasses. Now these, you'll see some people sell them online, and they'll talk about sleep better. It's bullshit. Like the clear lens ones aren't going to help you sleep better. They're not designed to help you sleep better. That's just crappy marketing ploy. What the clear lens ones do is reduce the blue light from your devices by maybe 30% to keep it roughly in line with what you would see outside. Roughly in line, not exactly, but roughly in line with outside, and and therefore they'll prevent eye strain and prevent some of the damage that the blue light can cause. But they're not going to do anything for your sleep. For that, you've seen me with my dark orange or red lenses. They're the ones that are helping me sleep, because they're the ones that are blocking out all blue from either the outdoor light or from screens, etc. They're the ones that are blocking out all blue and all green, because they're the two that really prevent melatonin production. And so what we've got to understand is, even in the night, like even in the evening time, your skin needs to understand that it's dark. It's dark. All right. So if you go out in the daylight and you go out in the sunlight, and your body responds to that by setting up protective markers, basically. So each in your skin, you've got lots of little clocks, basically, and you go out and it gets the sunlight or daylight first thing in the morning and says, right, okay, it's daylight. We need to go. We need to put in our protective mechanisms in order to stop ourselves from getting burnt, etc., etc. Right, so it does that, and we come back in and we look and we're a little bit red. We're a little bit red because we spent too much time out in the direct sunlight. But then what we do is we put on these blue screens. We put on artificial light. And so instead of it getting darker in the evening, instead of you respecting kind of circadian rhythms and allowing the clocks in your skin, basically, to say, oh, it's night time now, we can switch off protective and we can go into repair, recovery and rejuvenation. No, what we're going to do instead, by going in, turning on lights, turning on the TV, computer screens, etc., we're going to keep a strong blue wavelength of light coming out. And we're going to keep the skin's protective mechanism going full throttle until we go to bed where it's dark. And therefore, we've missed out on hours of potential rejuvenation from our skin because we've kept it in protection mode. And it's the same thing with eyes and covering your eyes. If you're going to watch TV, get some blue light blocking glasses. If you're okay, like if you manage to not watch TV and you're okay with reading books and stuff like that, invest in the right kind of lighting. So invest in red lights for the home, because they're the least effective, the least kind of disruptive of melatonin production. So you get some red lights that might be bright enough to light the home, but they have the least negative effect on melatonin production. So when you go to bed, you allow that melatonin to do what it's meant to do. And one of those primary roles of melatonin is as an antioxidant to repair the damage of the day. And specifically to repair the damage of the day in your mitochondria. And remember what your mitochondria are. They're basically the things that allow you, the things that produce the power. produce the power currency or produce the energy currency that your body needs to do anything. And so if you don't allow your melatonin levels to naturally rise, and you don't have high levels of melatonin when you go to bed and when you go to sleep, all of a sudden your body is at a deficit already, and you wake up tomorrow morning using the same mitochondria, the same kind of damaged and dysfunctional mitochondria that you went to bed with, because the melatonin wasn't high enough in order to do all the things that it needed to do over the night. And therefore it negatively affects your ability to perform the exercise or perform on any given task the next day. So until we start to use our time and effort to understand circadian rhythm, understand light and dark, understand health and how it reflects negatively on people that are consistently deprived of sleep, we'll always be leaving something behind us. So next time you're thinking, right, I need to make some changes, start with some of the simplest things. The simplest things are get light and dark. Get light in the morning. As early in the morning as you can, get light. And I'm talking daylight. When it comes to the evening, make it darker, make it redder, and protect your eyes from artificial blue light. Go to bed at a reasonable time, and try to go to bed at a reasonable time and wake up the same time each time. And what you'll start to find is, all of a sudden, actually, that sunlight in the morning is like my coffee. You won't need the coffee in the morning. All of a sudden you'll wake up and the sunlight in the morning will do the things that the coffee is doing. The coffee is just an artificial stimulant. Your eyes getting the natural daylight outside give you the boost that you will need, and it'll give you the boost that you want. And the other thing is, get some better sleep. Get some better sleep and you'll wake up with more energy. Get some better sleep and wake up with more energy, then go outside and you'll get the boost of the hormone boost without even having a coffee. Imagine not actually having coffee, not just for the lack of the crash later on, but actually imagine how much money you'll save by not having to get coffee all the time. We've got to make sure that we start to prioritise circadian rhythms and light and dark cycles. We're meant to have fight or flight and rest and digest, but we don't allow enough rest and digest mode. And we've got to. We absolutely have to. So, as always, if you've got any questions, drop me a message, and I will get back to you as soon as possible.